This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
Good morning, true seekers and true crime junkies. Welcome back to another episode of Hit the Road, Jack, Finding the Zodiac. I'd like to welcome Nolan Del Campo to the show today.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Bob says
What's
good
that?
morning.
Bob? Hi, Bob. All right. Well, getting back to this week, we are finally going to finish off with this cryptography stuff. I had a small bit of an intro after some revelations and puzzle pieces that I was putting together with Nolan's help yesterday. So we're going to go to the presentation because we're going to start with this picture.
Oh.
Dead center. Now, while it is laughable that we're staring at something like this, and I probably laugh because you laugh, but the honesty of it is I'm rather disgusted by it. Needless to say, when Lindsay had mentioned last week that there was a picture of Bill Clinton in a dress, which was a painted portrait in the Epstein household, and it had been released in the Epstein files. I jokingly said it's probably Lewinsky's dress. Well, I didn't know how right I would be, but
it's supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah, and even the red shoes, like everything about it is screaming, mocking. He got away with it. He's pointing out at people with a smirky little grin on his face, relaxed in a chair, and this portrait hangs over the top of some area in Epstein's house. Either way, that led Nolan and I to have some discussions in regards to the Epstein files and on Trump and things of that nature. And we looked at some things. One of those that we looked at was the newspaper headline that stated Trump had been convicted of 34 felonies, right?
Yeah, 32 or 34, yeah.
34 felonies. Yeah. That's what the headline said. Okay. Now, of course, I had already previously done some research on that because I wanted to see what was going on, because my Democratic friends kept telling me our president is a convicted pedophile and he has a convicted felon. And I thought, how would anybody ever make it into office being convicted as a felon? And Nolan, you were able to discover that in our little bit of research yesterday, which was the judge who indicated that he did not rule. He did not rule on a decision, right? Was that what it said?
No, he was convicted. He was convicted.
What was the judge's reasoning?
The first president ever convicted of a felony.
Okay, so let me first preface it.
He didn't get any jail time. He didn't get any fines. There was no penalties, but he did have 34 felonies.
Now, and the 34 felonies in my research boiled down to business practices, not child pedophilia, had nothing to do with abusing women, had financial implications, and that no other person in the state of New York had been convicted of a felony for these offenses, that they were misdemeanors.
A lot of it had to do with the Stormy Daniels affair, the payoffs and whatnot. Cohen and people like that.
So covering up his dastardly deeds.
The porn star, Stormy Daniels.
You're cutting in and out. I don't know if Stormy Daniels or what the deal is with that person. Are you still with us? I think I lost him. No, you're still there. Can you hear me?
I am. I just missed what you said.
You have a really bad connection. You are cutting in and out. I get every other word.
I'm back.
Okay. Anyways, I know nothing of the Stormy Daniels situation.
Yeah, I'm back
who he
now.
attempted to pay off.
I missed
Um, what's that?
Yeah. What you
I don't
said
think
before I missed, but let's move forward.
Okay, so what I was saying is that the business practices that he was convicted of as purported felonies, nobody else has ever been convicted of as a felony. And the judge also indicated that he was not assigning him any jail time or anything in regards to these because he knew that Trump was going to appeal these. And until the appeal process is over, he is still, considered, I guess, innocent, if you will, even if he's been convicted. I mean, if you're convicted, you're convicted.
Also kind of deferred to the political process in that the fact that it was going to be reelected, so he could probably just pardon himself anyway.
That's a possibility, but I think that we specifically read that it said that it was likely he was going to be bringing these back up on appeal, and he was going to give them the opportunity.
They're under appeal right now
to fight the fight, right? So this led me to thinking, like, what in the world happened between Trump and Epstein? Because as I was there, I was ear hustling the news. Your mom was watching, and it was mentioning the fact that CEOs were either stepping down from their positions or being fired or what have you. So we're hearing about what the business world is doing to these people who are coming out on the list, but where's the people who are getting arrested, like Prince Andrew?
Right. No one in the United States yet, except for Ghislaine.
Yeah, but I think
you pronounce her name differently, but that's what I call her.
Yeah, that's what I do too. It seems rather fitting, but I'm not gross. Either way, and I'm sure she's sitting pretty somewhere. I mean, honestly, when I started to think about these facts and the separation of Trump from Epstein, I started looking at what was going on. Now, we talked about the events at Mar-a-Lago with Epstein supposedly having stolen something. Wasn't that what we read yesterday?
Yeah, I forget what it was though. But the other thing, when Bondi...
Well, hold on. Let me finish this thought process. I don't know that Jeffrey Epstein needed to steal a damn thing. He was given everything.
Yeah, but there's an article in today's paper about a CEO, older guy, that he's mentioned in a bunch of Epstein files, but he denies everything. But then he does say he was a victim and that Epstein stole money from him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now all of a sudden they're going to separate themselves by claiming stealing, which the man didn't obviously need to do.
He's trying to play victim.
Of course.
His association with Epstein goes way beyond business.
Right. And that's that seems to be the ploy here. But my point being is the man was one of the richest people in the world. He had islands. He had many large residences all over the United States.
And he accumulated his wealth rather quickly too.
Right, but off the backs of other people. If he stole from anybody, it was the public. Right. Look, that whole 2008 real estate scam, that was all about taking from the American public. So you want to whine that he stole some money that you obviously could afford to lose or you wouldn't have given it to him in the first place is far different than what he'd done to the American citizens who lost their homes. So the timing is really where I was trying to come in at here is when Trump literally discovered that he stole and kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago, seemed rather fitting right after the Florida DA had given Epstein such a lenient sentence for the crimes that he had been committed, in the sense that it put a Band-Aid, I think, on the situation that allowed them politically to figure out how to make that separation so that Trump could still run for presidency and not have an association factor with him. But the fact that we're not hearing Trump's name in these files at all is really disturbing to me because we clearly see that he was good friends with him up until the stealing point.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Basically, in Florida.
Well, and the game set up
together.
The game set up 15 years in advance. So if Epstein was getting close to being taken down, they did what they did to pacify the victims by giving him some sort of sentence, even though it wasn't fair, long enough for them to perpetrate whatever this plan was to cause the separation between him and Trump. After watching these games for so long through these presentations, it just stands to reason that that was all a ploy to clear Trump for the next presidential run.
And because Epstein got such a lenient sentence in Florida for the similar crimes, which he was convicted of later or accused of later, I think that empowered him, made him feel he was kind of above the law. And so he got even worse after that. After his conviction, he got 100%. Worse.
Yeah, I think he really ultimately thought he was going to be overly protected by these people to the end. And he was definitely going to be the fall guy. These people aren't going to be the fall guy. These CEOs are the fall guy.
That's why he kept evidence, like Hoover. He kept dirt on like this Clinton thing. And I'm sure he has tons of stuff on Trump because he needed to blackmail them.
I'm sure there's an information stash that's hidden so well somewhere on the dark web that it hasn't even been discovered yet. And if it has been discovered, we're never going to see it either way, at least until all these people who are involved are dead. Then all of a sudden we're going to be dumped on like JFK and the aliens and all of these other things that, let's just mass dump all of our information on them in the end. Either way,
Maxwell knows, but she won't say anything because she's hoping for some sort of pardon or clemency or down the road. She figures if she keeps her mouth shut for now, at the end of Trump's term, maybe she'll get pardoned or get clemency or whatever,
That's what we're going to want to look for. That's what we're going to keep in mind, that we don't forget in the next 2 years with all this other chaos that they have going on, that we watch who he pardons and what he pardons at the end, because it's going to solidify some of the statements we're making now.
He pardoned all the lunatics that attacked the Capitol on January 6th. So he could pardon whoever he wants, it seems like.
Exactly. Well, absolutely. Biden did. Every other president has. We had Bush literally pardoning Henry Lee Lucas after admitting to over 200 murders that he was force-fed by the Texas Rangers to attempt to close hundreds of cases across the United States, which I believe are all involved in this mess of nefariousness where they're just running an agenda and they don't care who gets in the way. They're going to take them out. And they've done it on several occasions. And they create these crisis instances where we have serial killers running amok in order to distract us. So now this whole president thing, I'm starting to worry about, Trump stealing a president. And then I just found out from my assistant that we also stole six tankers of oil from Venezuela as well.
Before that, we're in control of all their oil now, and we're
right. So if the taxpayers' money is what it took to steal this president, to run that op, to put them in possession of this oil, then that oil should be coming back to the taxpayers. The money that they're making off of it should not be something they're independently making for their agencies. It should come back to the American citizens. And I thought that was a very good point.
Citizens, and allegedly, they say that the profits from the sale of the oil are going back to the Venezuelan citizens, but we don't know. We haven't seen an accounting or anything like that, and someone's making a profit off it. We wouldn't have done it unless someone was going to make a profit.
Right, and we wouldn't give it away. We've not been known to move into a territory on a foreign land, usurp all of their resources, and give it back to them. That's not what we're known for.
No, we take it, especially in Central and South America. Look at Chile when they overthrew Allende. It was copper was the main resource there that they wanted. Anaconda and Kennecott copper and because Allende, he was a socialist president like Maduro. Allende was a real socialist though. Maduro, fake socialist. But anyway, he nationalized the copper industry. And the CIA and the United States business interests said, no, we're going to kill you. And they put Pinochet in, and then they had like a reign of terror, just like Robespierre in France.
Okay.
Terrible history in Chile.
So only you and
Kissinger was one of the people behind that master plan. under Nixon.
Of course. It's just another mob move to, yes. I'm glad you say that name, because we just keep going full circle with who's in charge, who's running things, and who's making money off of things. And it certainly isn't us. We're just getting screwed. I went to the gas tank or to the gas station yesterday, and we're back up to $4.55 a gallon, because the holidays are now subsiding. We just got over Valentine's Day, and now we see the gas hike up. It's like they play this game of who's going to make money during what period of the year, and it's cyclical, and it just keeps on happening. But I thought, if we just stole 6 tankers of oil and we took over Venezuelans' oil, why are our gas prices rising?
Yeah, why don't we benefit from that? Yeah, the rank and file individual. And it's just
Good morning.
I just on a little aside, hi Lindsay, that little excerpt I showed you from that book on the mamas and papas about CIA mind control and use of psychedelic drugs, and Marie Pinchot Meyer is quoted as telling Timothy Leary that, hey, dude, the people that are really in power, not the elected politicians, but the people that really run shit, they want to use this shit for warfare, for mind control, and behavior control. And she was onto it. That's why they killed her.
That's literally what it is. Literally what Nolan just said.
Yeah, no, 100%. I completely believe that. I don't necessarily want to say everybody in government is bad, because that's not true. That would be like saying every person in a particular race or culture was bad. It's just simply not true. We just have bad people amongst the group, and we have people who are willing to profit off the backs of others, which means killing people, hurting people, demising people, doing anything and everything that they can to maintain what power they have and to usurp as many resources from us as they possibly can. I feel like we are the great project of division, and see how much we can divide American citizens, but continue to suppress and oppress them through the means that they are doing, which means we can never get ahead. We can't even oftentimes make a paycheck that is complementary to the price of living at the time. Most of us are living well below that means, even on a standard like what is that like for your hour? I haven't made an hourly wage in forever, but what do they call that, when the minimum wage? So whenever the minimum wage is enacted, it's still well below the line of living.
Thing is that when they raise the minimum wage, people raise prices.
Exactly.
So even though your wages get raised, your buying power gets lessened, because they, like you said, with the gas and with food and just everything else, everything just goes up and up and up.
We'll see the gas market go down now, because we're going to be stepping into Easter, and we're going to watch the price of eggs soar through the roof. We may even have decimation of an entire, ranch of chickens, which always seems to happen about this time too, which also causes inflation. Makes me wonder if that wasn't a set game. Let's, kill off the entire stock, and then what we have left, we can charge 5 times the amount. People are still going to buy them because it's Easter. Whatever. Yeah.
Well, it's egg
all
milk.
Right. Yeah. So back to the cryptography. The last couple pieces that I had on cryptography was basic substitution again up here. Only this one looks a little bit more complicated as far as the substitution process, and I wasn't really able to make out what this was supposed to say, because it just doesn't really make any sense what it codes out to, and then what you're supposed to be able to derive from that information. But what was more interesting was down here on the right hand side. We look again at, these are the frequencies of common short words, letters of the alphabet, and let's see, and words and letters. So basically E being the most used letter in the English language means that it's used more. And if it's a simple substitution, if you have one symbol that repeats itself more than any other symbol, it is typically an E. And then on down the line with T being 92, O being 79. And then when you get over into the words, it actually breaks down how many times these words would be used in a message, and that the top use of word would be the word of. So if you had two symbols that continued to repeat themselves more than any other symbols in there, then you would be looking at the word of. And again, this isn't a simple substitution. This is not one of these more complicated ones that we see that the Zodiac did, which really just instills more so that whoever he was sending these messages to had a key, bottom line.
Yeah, you have to have a key. Basically, there's systems and methodologies and whatnot that can assist you, but you really need to have at least one solid key clue and go from there. And if you don't, then you're not going to decipher it.
You're not. There's no way. And when I look at the systems that were used with John Walsh, we were talking at least 5 or 6 different systems that was used within that, at least based on this book that was produced out of Chicago, Illinois for this document examiner. So we can see the use of the booze balls. Booz Allen Hayes was a war defense company that used these to show the completion of contracts. Wasn't available to the public yet, but somehow the Zodiac was aware of it. Zodiac was aware of Dick Tracy comics that were being produced out of Chicago, Illinois before they were actually produced for the public. So that's showing that inside information and knowledge that you could only get if you were up in this echelon, not down here.
In the Dick Tracy comics back in the day that was named Zodiac.
Oh, well, and did that come before or after Zodiac?
That's way before. It was like the 50s.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, then if he took that name and maybe that comics, I like to say that they like to parrot whatever it is they're actually doing to us and shoving it in our face and in subtle ways that we don't seem to pick up on. That was just now a phenomenon that was going to be taken on by one of these crime sprees. So I wouldn't be surprised if there weren't other comics that were out there mimicking things like the Oakland County child murders or the Atlanta, Georgia child murders, or many of these other the Los Angeles stuff with Black Dahlia. I wouldn't be surprised.
The media and these mass murder or these murders and serial killers, a lot of it goes hand in hand. Like if you look at the movie Bullet with Steve McQueen, or you look at the Dirty Harry movies with Clint Eastwood. Yeah. A lot of times there's the Bay Area assassin that they're chasing.
Right.
Y'all need to watch Snake Eyes. I think I showed you.
I do.
Told you guys a while back with Nicolas Cage, but you gotta watch it because you're gonna see so many similarities in the Charlie Kirk case, like mirrors and parallels. It's insane, dude. Like I've watched somebody on the other day. They were going back over the movie and pointing things out, and it's like he pointed things out that I didn't even notice. So it's like now I want to watch it again because I want to
see what you get.
Yeah, it's like every time every time you watch a movie or something, you're always going to see something else different. It's just like you're reading a book. But yeah, that movie, oh my God, you'll freak out. I'm telling you, it's insane what they do.
This would be how then I've always surmised that they give us little bits of information of upcoming things, such as Star Trek, talking to each other through a TV, just like we're sitting here right now on Zoom and we can see each other and we're having conversations. They were feeding us this back in the 70s and 80s, right? And so I tried to express how this was their way of showing us what was coming and desensitizing us to it, but we don't know that it actually existed at that very moment. And one of my girlfriends tried to tell me, well, maybe it's the movie that preempted them to design and make this. No. Oh, no. That is absolutely false. I mean, I look at Suspect Zero, which is my movie for the Zodiac. I believe that this pretty much fits the bill for what we're looking at. And they're basically putting it right in our face because they're the ones that created these programs. They're the ones that created this technology. So they are feeding it to us. They are the ones responsible for it. And they're going to give it to us through entertainment and through the news and in little ways so that when it hits us, it's not wham, right upside the head. This just showed up. No, they've been working on it for many years. They've been using it for many years before we got it.
Yep.
All right, back to Jack and Nora. I've been dying to get here because we are just now leaving 1996. We're climbing into, this is December 31st and January 1st in Nora's diary. And she indicates that they watched movies till midnight at Chuck and Geneva's, which I thought was interesting because Chuck and Geneva, if I'm correct, are back in Texas. Went outside and listened. Okay, so maybe Chuck and Geneva is not in Texas. Maybe they are in California at this point. I feel like we're going to see them hanging out with them again when they're back in Texas. So I'm not sure how that plays out. But Nora comes down.
They listen to all the noise. So it's like people shooting guns and firecrackers and whatnot for the new year. Is that what it's a reference to? Probably.
No, she said went outside. Yeah, went outside and listened to all the noise. Yeah, Jack didn't even wish me a happy new year. No hug, no kiss, no nothing. New Year's Day, Joy cooked a ham. And so she comes down sick with something. She gets the flu, then she has some eye issues from it, probably contracted whatever virus she had in her eye. It swells up. Jack is currently sick at this point. They had already planned on heading back home, but now we're seeing her diary say January 10th, January 11th. It's moving on in until January 7th when she says rain or shine. But take note that up here we see December 16th turn to January 16th. We see January 17th turned from December 17th. So we're seeing some oddities in her date sequence. And I bring this up because when we get to when they're back in Texas, it conflicts with the actual phone records showing that they were already back in Texas 2 days before. So it makes me seriously concerned about the dating sequences and why they had been changed. She was consistent January, then why would you go hop back and now December 16th? It just didn't make any sense. It was almost like she plotted out this. What's that?
Is the bottom one supposed to be January 17th or January 7th?
January 17th. And it says rain or shine, Jack was determined. We are leaving this day. Me still not feeling good. So let's forward into the next one. Me still not feeling well, and my eye only getting relief when it's closed, did not want to leave, and just 2 days ago I find out Charles is not going with us. So she says I was numb. She didn't care if she lived or died. Like this is some pretty desperate words for somebody. And I get it, Charles is 18. I don't believe that this is the first time he's ever been away from his mother by any means, but he stayed back so that he could get his GED taken care of. And Nora's very upset that they're moving on to Texas without them.
Did he join the military after he got the GED? Is that what the path he was on?
No, not Charles. Charles is Jack's youngest son, and
that was the other Dennis.
Yeah, the other Dennis was military.
Yeah. Okay.
So there are several dates that are also changed on this one. So did she pre-fill all of these dates out and then come back, or was she legitimately making mistakes at the time she was attempting to write the entries, which is a little hard to tell. January 18th per phone records, the calls are made back to California from their home phone number. So presumably they've made it home by January 18th, but we're showing that they're still in Arizona on January 19th. So how is this possible, right? So
it's weird. Looks like manipulation of the dates.
Something is going on here.
And Nanette, did you notice if it was actually her writing over on top of the old date?
It does appear though that some of it is. I haven't studied her handwriting like I've studied Jack's. It's probably something I should do to make sure that Jack hadn't gone back and changed it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, some of these dates may have benefited him to have been changed, but what if he just simply said, you need to change those dates? I feel like Dennis had mentioned at one point in time that Nora knew who Jack was and that Nora feared for her life that she was going to be killed by Jack. And if she did truly know who and what Jack was, it wouldn't be so hard for him to tell her you need to change those dates, you know?
Yeah.
I
know Dennis feared him, the other Dennis. He was in fear of him.
Oh yeah. Dennis was definitely scared of him. So on the January 20th, 1997 to January 29th, 1997, in her diary, this is where I bring up the phone bill. And in this phone bill, it shows January 23rd, 1997, Jack is receiving cell phone bills from Southwestern Bell in the name of John W. Terrence Jr. So this is one of the first introductions I see of the name John. So now he's using a different name to obtain cell phone bills.
Yeah.
And also,
John is his actual name. Jack is a nickname for John.
Okay, but his name is J.W. Terrence.
Right, yes.
He adopted Jack.
Mm-hmm.
I believe his father went by John.
Right.
And they were both W's. So J.W. Terrence Jr. is a junior because his dad was J.W. Terrence. And then if they opted for a name other than J.W., it would have been John or Jack, like we're seeing. I'm just saying at this point, this is the first time we're seeing the use of John. So again, an identity change as he's in another state. Back in Texas now he's listed as John Terrence. And in fact, this bill was actually listed under Terrence, Terrance, which was one of the aliases that was used in one of his convictions back here in California. So he's over here, but we do see him actively trying to get them to change it from the Terr to the Tarr. So it could have been a clerical mistake on the phone company's part. Either way, he's still using John, which is a totally different name. I don't care if they're swappable. These are legal documents.
Right.
Yeah.
Out an account with a cell phone company, you should be using your legal name.
Just a quick aside, back to the movies. In The Shining, the guy's name, Jack Nicholson's name is Jack Torrance.
Exactly.
I know, that's so creepy to me. I've always thought that.
It almost makes me feel like they did in fact know who Jack was back then, and that's why they were making out these serial killers that just were so similar, like Dirty Harry.
I really think they did.
Well, hold on. Can't talk over us, or nobody's gonna hear. Just like the Dirty Harry movies where they're floating around after a serial killer in San Francisco, right? It's just so close to home. I'm sorry, go ahead. Lindsay.
Oh, I was just saying, I really agree with that. Like, I really think they knew who he was and still are hiding it now.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be just like the Alien files. It's going to be just like the JFK files. Once people are gone, then they're going to be able to release it. 122 of 97 says December. And then, so again, we're still seeing all the way into January 22nd. She now has a full-on habit of writing January, and we're still seeing December pop up, which is very leery, and it says that Jack is getting sick, but he was just sick on New Year's Eve. So now you're telling me on January 26th he's getting sick again? I mean, I don't know that he's cleared up from whatever he had. New Year's Eve, which is why they hadn't left California. She says she misses Charles. Flova, Jack's mom, went to the ER for breathing issues and is confused, looking very bad per Nora. And Mary's husband has some medical issues, which is Nora's daughter. So Nora's head's spinning right now. Charles has left himself in California. She's coming back to a place she absolutely hates. She despises Flova. Jack's getting sick. All of these things are going on all at one time. February 1st to February 17th, we see that Flova, Nora says Flova looks like she's dying and not getting any better. And then 2/7, and I'm not sure because it says February, let's see, 2/7. It starts to say what looks like February 7th, and then it's changed to February 17th. And that's a big jump from the 6th to the 17th. Might also indicate that she does pre-fill out a date before she writes, once again, in anticipation of writing, and may just not get to it until she does, and then she changes the date when she does. So I can play devil's advocate there on both sides.
I think that the writing on the right side looks like it was all done at the same time.
Well, this green obviously is after the fact.
But it's two different types of ink, though, it looks like. Right. So she starts out with this blue pen, Mary called, and then goes into this green, and then goes into this blue, but then comes back and uses green to rewrite over the top of these blues. So this feels like an entire insertion here, this green, because she touched up the words on the entry after it that was done in blue ink with that same green pen. I'm really confused. This is not how a diary should work. So it says Jack is getting sick again after antibiotics, and he has bronchitis in January, or at least that's what they think it is at that point. By February 18th to February 21st, Jack is really not doing well. And it says, doctor took one look at him and put him in the ER room, running tests to see what's wrong, admitted him to ICU, congestive heart failure. Jack thought he would come home on Friday. So obviously he didn't even understand the severity of what it was that he was going through. And the reason why I bring that, you know what? And that brings me back to one of the witnesses in the Jonbenet Ramsey stuff in December, making a claim that one of the people he witnessed getting on the Greyhound bus appeared to have congestive heart failure. And he recognized that by the barrel-chested, fat belly type,
body structure that usually accompanies congestive heart failure. I know my dad had it, so I do understand what he says about barrel-chested, and barrel-chested was a description that was used in the Zodiac killings as early as 1969. So we're seeing this run its gamut, and again, for this very reason, I can't exclude Jack because he did in fact have congestive heart failure.
Well, and then you have those records of him calling those Colorado numbers. So
during the month that he's gone from the family, when he supposedly had an alibi for being in California with the family for the holidays. You're right, 100%. It says that he now is being they shipped Jack to community hospital in San Antonio. He didn't come home. Doctors couldn't figure out why his blood pressure keeps dropping. Couldn't figure out why his pulse is too high and then drops too low. Dolores and Chubb and I followed the ambulance down to San Antonio. He is in the National Regional Heart Institute. So he's sent off to one of the finest places, I'm sure, for heart surgery, because I believe at this point is where he's going to get his pacemaker. Flovis still isn't doing well and is still very confused. And now Nora is having to travel to San Antonio to visit Jack. But he is actually in good spirits when he sees Charles, which I think is kind of interesting. So Nora says on February 23rd, it's a beautiful day. I feel great. Charles is home. Jack's mom is stable, but very confused. Rick is doing better than expected, although the side effects are atrocious. What he is going through, I'm not going to share that medical, if that person's still alive, it's not my job to share his medical stuff, but she was very concerned for his mortality at this particular point in time. So Jack, I feel like, doesn't really have any love for Nora. I mean, that whole notion that Dennis stated that Nora, or that Jack pulled him aside and took him into a room and told him, you know, I don't want to be here any more than you want me to be here, but this is how it's going to be, and we're going to learn how to get along, basically. Well, it kind of coincides with the way Nora's feeling in some of these entries in her diary. So I wanted to read this one just because it made me sad for her. It said that Jack was happy to see Charles. It wasn't long we were there, and he started in on me. Spent too much money while he has been in the hospital. I don't handle things. I am not to have his wallet at any time. Don't do this and don't and do this. Giving instructions to Charles how to take care of things. Now, Charles is 18 years old, and he's in a hospital with Jack, who's suffering from congestive heart failure, ordering his son to make sure his own mother doesn't handle affairs. What a chauvinistic thing to do. Yeah, he's 18.
He doesn't respect Nora at all.
At all. So instructions to Charles how to
that just shows there's, like you say, a chauvinistic attitude that he never respected women to begin with.
He never, not once. Unless it was his mom. His mom could do no wrong. And I think that's what really set Nora on fire, because he oftentimes was taking his mother's side. So giving instructions to Charles how to take care of things, I was beside myself, how he was acting and his oh gosh, something. I got angry and upset after all I've been through, the worry, the toll, all the pressure has taken on me. I walked out of the room and went to the car, cried all I could cry. I felt like running and disappearing somewhere, taking Charles and never coming back. That's some pretty heavy statements. Yeah. And I get it that these times are stressful, but I mean, she's talked about suicide now. She's talked about leaving and taking Charles with her. Anything, I guess, to hurt Jack, and maybe as much as Jack has probably hurt her. I don't know.
Have you talked to Charles Nanette?
I did, and at one point in time, he agreed that he would come on, and I've reached out to him, not recently, but a couple years ago when he first found out I was doing this, and he was excited that I was doing this. He was on board. He had a friend that was watching the podcast, and he said he would come on. So I wanted to talk with him about some of the things like the pre-cut rope that Jack used to keep in his trunk. You know, some of the things that he would notice that was odd about what an average parent would or wouldn't do, and I just never got that opportunity.
Maybe we should reach out again.
Guns and knives too.
I'm sorry. I got yours, Lindsay. What did you say, Nolan?
He always had guns and knives.
Who?
Jack.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and you could see them. I mean, carry them right on his hip because in Texas you can do so. So here, February 24th to February 26th, it says Jack's pacemaker gets reprogrammed. So I'm assuming at some point, though I didn't see it in the notes when he actually got that pacemaker, but it is now being reprogrammed because I think that's where they figured out his blood pressure was going too high and dropping too low and things like that. Jack gets to come home on February 27th of 1997. So we see that it's taken him almost a month in the hospital from the time he got home to get cleared and out.
How old is he at this point? Do you know?
In 97, he is born in 23. If I have that right, 23? No, that's not right. 28. He's born in 28. That would have made him 41 in 69. And so this is almost 70 at this point, 68, 69.
Okay.
Which is why I think that he's nothing more than the letter writer at this point. I do think he had a heyday of killing people. I don't discount that at all. But I think
69 is pretty young to me.
Well, it can be if you're in good health.
I think back then,
nowadays. But in 90s, that wasn't, that was kind of average for men who were in their 70s when, they were knocking off women a little later in the 70s, early 80s. I think they say something like an 8-year statistical difference between women and men in, mortality rates at those ages. So February 27th of 1997, Jack lands himself in the hospital with congestive
you're
heart
breaking up on the live. I don't know if it's me or...
I don't know. Well, I was having a little bit of issue earlier, but I haven't.
You sound fine to me right now.
Okay, so it might just be yours, Lindsay. I failed to remove that entire entry of February 27th, but by March 19th, 1997, Jack is being sent information he requested back to normal, it seems, for him. This is some type of lower back pain relief company, as far as I can tell, and we know that Jack walked with a lumbar. He had a discogram done before back injuries and a subsequent surgery. So here he is looking into some information in regards to what's called the teleback. And as much as I could find on that, it's for those who suffer from back pain. Teleback offers a real opportunity to get rid of this limiting and annoying problem from your home. I can't believe this just disgusts me that they sell this stuff as if this is a fix-all for these individuals who are in pain, and all you're doing
Nanette, I've worked for a neurosurgeon for 10 years doing back surgeries, and I've never heard of that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like you've seen all the literature that I've put up here from Jack's files, like, this get on this bandwagon and make this money, try this new thing and make this money, try this new thing. Like he was a get me on for some of these things. He just really, it's no different than the average American who wants relief from their back. They're willing to pay for things they think might help because these people out here lying saying it will. There's no proven, if there was proven relief from this, everybody would have it. It's like I tell my dad when he got an email and it said he'd won Publishers Clearinghouse or he'd won something, or if you do this, you make this money. I said, Dad, if it were real, everybody would do it.
Yeah.
But it's not real.
Out there. Yeah.
They're going to be around long enough to take your money from you and maybe a couple other million people. And then once they figure they've tapped that pond, they're going to skate on to something else and bring up a whole new program where they can make money in a different way under a different name with a different phone number. It's just what we're, and why can't they stop this? Why can't they stop the people who are lying about these things and feeding this nonsense to us and using and taking our money because all we really want is relief?
All the time I get emails that I'm afraid to open because you just drawn in, and and it's if it sounds too good to be true, it is.
It 100% is 100%. And sometimes you take it as a serious. So phishing is where they basically look to perpetrate themselves out to be a trusted company, and their whole goal is to obtain your personal information so they can commit identity theft against you. You've got malware that comes in, and we've seen the malware. I'm now finally understanding all these different fraud methods through the computer system, which isn't my forte. I don't usually deal with IT or technology, a limited technology, should I say, in forensic examination. But the malware that comes in to destroy, so they purposely embed this malware to come in and destroy your computer when you're researching something like we are. And I've seen it happen to several of my computers. Harriet's had it happen to her computers, on down the line. You click on some of these links and it'll tell you straight up, there's a virus. I think they even embedded one in my message board. So people don't go to my message board because they get scared. Once they go to the link and they try to process that link, they get a warning from Google saying that there's a virus attached. Don't do it. And I'm thinking, what the heck? I don't have any viruses attached.
Stuff. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, I don't have anything embedded. So either this is just something that they're doing as a ploy against me, which tells me they have big capabilities to be able to do that. Or somebody has embedded somehow, some way, maybe an attached document or something that they thought they were acting like they were helping me out with research, and attached something that had an embedded malware in it. Yeah, whatever it might be. Whoever
they are, they have big ears and big eyes.
And and broad reach. Big ears, big eyes, broad reach. Yeah. So I also, at this particular point in time, 1997, found Jack's phone book for the people that he knew of, and I circled many of these things with, I want to look up these numbers and see who these people are. I know, Lindsay, that you have that capability, but I've put these ones up here just so we can talk about some of the locations that Jack has friends in. So, of course, we've got Chubb and Dolores Barnett, and we've talked about how Jack has used Barnett in the past for a name for a bell. Donnie and John Barnett. So this is obviously his mother's maiden side. So the Barnetts is Flova Barnett before she became Flova Terrence. Jim Bond, Seguin, Texas. We've got, this was interesting, Frank Bonebreak. I don't know if that's a real last name.
Oh, I've never heard that last name.
Bonebreak, yeah. That's out of the Sacramento area. We've got Brinkerhoff in Flagstaff, Arizona. We've got Hollywood, California. Aspermont, Texas. Let's see. Pawn shops. Shady Cove, Oregon. So he has friends and family in Oregon. We talked about this. He stayed a bit in Oregon. I'm not sure who with, but that leads us back to the DB Cooper thing. He claims to have, been living in the Oregon area. New Braunfels, Texas, Flagstaff, Arizona, Lockhart, Texas, San Antonio. That's a doctor's office, I believe. Yep, cardiac. Let's see. There were some more surprising ones. Bastrop in Nashville, Arkansas. We have Arkansas in the mix now. Arizona, Michigan. So Denny and Sharon Gilbert. Now it appears as though Denny, his biological son, in 1997 is living in Michigan. Now you got to remember though that Denny and it was Nora's kid's father who lived in Michigan. So he really has two sources in Michigan. Aside from his own son, Nora's married family was also living in Michigan. I looked up the Lexington, Michigan to see approximately how far it was from the Royal Oak and the Oakland County child murders, and I found that it was an hour and 30 minutes away.
Wow.
Too close for comfort.
Too close. More Flagstaff, Seguin, let's see, Dale, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Longview, Port Huron, Michigan. So now here's the Kaufman family. This is Nora's original, because Dennis's last name is Kaufman. So I don't know if this is an aunt and uncle, a grandmother, grandfather, maybe even the father of the children.
Did you say, is it Kaufman with a K?
K.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Kaufman with a K. So I also Googled Port Huron, Michigan, as it pertains to the Royal Oak area, and I found it was only an hour and 7 minutes away. So when they moved to Cont, Minnesota, It was a 12-hour trip from Cont, Minnesota to the Michigan area, which we know that there were visitations that took place because Dennis talked about them. And now we can see exactly how far the happenstances of what occurred with the Oakland County child murders were from where the proximity of family members or places that he could probably drop the kids off and disappear like he likes to do.
Yeah. I'm curious to see the ancestry on him. But I've tried to look it up before, but he has some like you just stated, like he puts the different names in there.
He has a null. He has a null for a name because he's J.W. Terrence. You're not really going to find anything because it doesn't lead you to search parameters that are required to populate something. I think that's the null that Terry B was talking about. So if you ran Letha self, you're not going to find anything because self is not recognized. It's just not enough information to make an identification, and neither would
So
JW.
What I was thinking was maybe I should look up Nora because if they were actually married legally, then I can find stuff. So maybe
and then they were divorced. Then
then I can find stuff.
That marriage wasn't valid because he hadn't divorced from Doris yet. So then they had to get remarried. Then they got divorced when he tried to harm the family, when he went berserk and tried to kill everybody with a hammer and a knife or whatever during the 80s. And then they got remarried, I guess, at some point because we're married there in the end.
And there should be documents of that, so it will lead me to a trail.
Right. Well, see, I've also got Florida, I've got Arizona, I've got all kinds of different locations, which puts Jack in all these areas that I have talked about throughout the presentation. But we are at the end of our time. We'll finish off the phone book, and maybe I can get some of this information to you, Lindsay, to help in your research. Yes. I want to thank you both for being here today. Everybody have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next Friday.
Nice hat.
Nice hat, Barry S. Brewing Company.
I love the hat, by the way. I love it. I love hats. I collect them.
We'll see you all soon.
It's Barry S. hat.
It is.
That's Zodiac 101.